that decrees that any craving of a leader, however foolish, will be quickly supported by detailed rate of return and strategic studies prepared by his troops. For example, every time it becomes fashionable to expand into some new line of business, some companies will expand into it. Then they get out of it about 5 years later, licking their wounds. It's very human. People do the same thing with their stocks. To illustrate, let me tell you the story of the oil prospector who met St. Peter at the pearly gates. When told his occupation, St. Peter said, "Oh, I'm really sorry. You seem to meet all the tests to get into heaven, but we've got a terrible problem. See that pen over there? That's where we keep the oil prospectors waiting to get into heaven. And it's filled. We haven't got room for even one more." The oil prospector thought for a minute and said, "Would you mind if I just said 4 words to those folks?" "I can't see any harm in that," said St. Pete. So the old-timer cupped his hands and yelled out, "Oil discovered in hell!" Immediately the oil prospectors wrenched the lock off the door of the pen, and out they flew, flapping their wings as hard as they could for the lower regions. "You know, that's a pretty good trick," St. Pete said. "Move in. The place is yours. You've got plenty of room." The old fellow scratched his head and said, "No, if you don't mind, I think I'll go along with the rest of them. There may be some truth to that rumor after all." That, unfortunately, is what happens in business and investments. People know better, but when they hear a rumor, particularly when they hear it from a high place, they just can't resist the temptation to go along. It happens on Wall Street periodically, where you get what are, in effect, manias. Looking back, no one can quite understand how everyone could have gotten so swept up in the moment. A group of lemmings looks like a pack of individualists compared with Wall Street when it gets a concept in its teeth. When I was a graduate student at Columbia University, I got a piece of advice from Ben Graham, the founding father of security analysis, that I've never forgotten. You're neither right nor wrong because other people agree with you. You're right because your facts are right and your reasoning is right. And that's the only thing that makes you right. And if your facts and reasoning are right, you don't have to worry about anybody else. Watch that track record. The best judgment we can make about managerial competence does not depend on what people say, but simply what the record shows. At Berkshire Hathaway, when we buy a business, we usually keep whoever has been running it. So we already have a batting average.